Willow Creek, population 3,412, a town where everybody knows your name and your business. It was the kind of place where kids rode bikes with no helmets and doors were left unlocked at night. Emily Carter, with her sunny disposition and heart of gold, was Willow Creek's golden girl. 17 years old, star athlete, straight-A student, Emily was the girl every parent wished their son would bring home. She volunteered at the local soup kitchen every Sunday. She tutored kids struggling with math. Emily had a smile that could light up a room, a laugh that was contagious. Emily had dreams, big dreams. She wanted to go to Stanford, study astrophysics. She wanted to work for NASA. She wanted to be the first woman to walk on Mars. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. July 12, 2025, a Friday. The air was thick with the smell of freshly cut grass and the promise of fireflies. Summer had just begun, and the nights were made for backyard barbecues and whispered secrets. Emily was supposed to be at a sleepover at her best friend, Chloe Miller's house. She told her parents she was staying over, that Chloe's dad would pick her up, that she'd be back Sunday afternoon. She gave her mom a quick kiss on the cheek, her dad a wave over her shoulder, and walked out the door. It was the last time they would ever see their daughter alive. When Sunday rolled around and Emily wasn't home by dinner, a knot of worry tightened in her mother's stomach. She called Chloe's mom. Chloe's mom hadn't seen Emily. Panic set in. Phone calls were made, neighbors were questioned, the police were called. Emily Carter had vanished. News travels fast in a town like Willow Creek, especially bad news. In a place where everyone knows everyone, secrets are hard to keep, and whispers carry on the wind like leaves in the fall. The disappearance of Emily Carter spread like wildfire. It was the kind of news that sent shock waves through the community, leaving everyone on edge. Emily was a bright, cheerful girl, well loved by her family and friends. Her sudden vanishing was a mystery that no one could comprehend. The idyllic facade of the small town began to crack. The once peaceful streets now seemed haunted by an unspoken fear. Neighbors who used to greet each other with warm smiles now exchanged worried glances. The sense of security that had blanketed Willow Creek was unraveling, thread by thread. Fear seeped in, replacing the sweet scent of summer with the bitter taste of dread. Parents held their children a little tighter, and the laughter that once filled the air was replaced by hushed conversations and anxious whispers. The playground stood empty, swings swaying in the wind, a stark reminder of the innocence that had been lost. Missing person posters with Emily's smiling face were plastered on every telephone pole, every shop window, every bulletin board. Search parties were organized. The community came together, united by a common goal, to find Emily and bring her home. The sight of her face, frozen in time, was a constant reminder of the urgency of their mission. Volunteers combed through cornfields and wooded areas. They searched tirelessly, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, their voices echoing through the night as they called out her name. The hope of finding Emily kept them going, even as the days turned into weeks. They dredged the bottom of the Willow Creek Reservoir. Divers plunged into the murky depths, searching for any sign of the missing girl. The water, once a place of recreation and joy, had become a symbol of their deepest fears. Every lead led to a dead end. Hope started to dwindle. The exhaustion was palpable, and the once hopeful volunteers began to feel the weight of their efforts. The community spirit, once so strong, was beginning to wane. The internet became a breeding ground for theories. Social media was abuzz with speculation, each new theory more outlandish than the last. People from all over the country weighed in, offering their own ideas and solutions. but none brought them any closer to finding Emily. Some said she had run away, seeking a life beyond the confines of their small town. They imagined her boarding a bus, suitcase in hand, ready to start a new adventure far from Willow Creek. But those who knew Emily found it hard to believe she would leave without a word. Others whispered about the possibility of a stranger passing through, snatching Emily away in the night. The idea of an unknown predator lurking in their midst sent shivers down their spines. The once safe streets now seemed filled with shadows and danger. The rumor mill churned, fueled by fear and speculation. Gossip spread like wildfire, each story more sensational than the last. The newspapers ran speculative headlines, feeding the frenzy and keeping the town on edge. But no one, not even the police, seemed to have any real answers. Where was Emily Carter? The question hung in the air, a heavy weight on the hearts of everyone in Willow Creek. The search continued, but with each passing day, the hope of finding her alive grew dimmer. The mystery of Emily's disappearance had become a dark cloud over the town, a constant reminder of their vulnerability and the fragility of their peace. Section 4. A Glimmer in the Static. The investigation was agonizingly slow. Days turned into weeks. Each day felt like an eternity, with the weight of uncertainty pressing down on everyone involved. The officers, despite their best efforts, found themselves hitting dead ends at every turn. Weeks stretched into a month. The passage of time was relentless, indifferent to the growing desperation of Emily's family and friends. The sunsets and sunrises blurred together, marking the passage of time that seemed to offer no solace. The police followed every lead, but Emily had vanished without a trace. Every clue, every tip led to a frustrating dead end. The bulletin board in the precinct was filled with photos and notes, a testament to their relentless but fruitless efforts. Her cell phone went straight to voicemail. Each unanswered call was a painful reminder of her absence, a digital echo of the silence that had enveloped her life. Her social media accounts were inactive. The once vibrant digital footprint she left behind was now eerily silent, as if frozen in time. Friends and family scrolled through her posts, hoping for any sign, any clue, but found nothing. It was as if she had simply ceased to exist. Then, a break. A glimmer of hope in the static of despair. Grainy footage from a security camera at a gas station on the outskirts of town. The footage was far from perfect, but it was the first real lead they had in weeks. The timestamp 10:15 p.m., July 12th, the night Emily disappeared. The significance of the date and time was not lost on anyone. It was a crucial piece of the puzzle. The footage showed Emily's car, a red Toyota Corolla, pulling up to the pump. The sight of her car brought a mix of relief and dread. Relief that they had something to go on, dread at what it might reveal. A shadowy figure, their face obscured by a hoodie, could be seen getting out of the driver's seat. The figure's movements were deliberate, almost too calm, adding to the mystery. The figure filled the tank, then went inside the store. Each action was methodical, as if they had done this 100 times before. They paid in cash, then returned to the car and drove away. The use of cash was a calculated move, leaving no digital trail. The car, and presumably Emily, were never seen again. The darkness swallowed them whole, leaving behind more questions than answers. The footage was blurry, the angle awkward, but it was something. Finally, a tangible lead. The officers pored over the footage, analyzing every frame, hoping to extract any useful information. The police released the footage to the public, hoping someone, anyone, might recognize the figure at the gas station. The press conference was a desperate plea for help, a call to the community to come together and find Emily. The footage played on screens across the city, a haunting reminder of the night she disappeared. Section 5. Silence in the Blackwood Forest. The Blackwood Forest, known for its dense foliage and eerie silence, has always been a place of mystery and intrigue. The towering trees and the thick underbrush create a labyrinthine environment where one could easily get lost. The forest has a reputation for being a place where secrets are buried, both literally and figuratively. The tip came from an unlikely source. It was an anonymous call, the voice on the other end shaky and filled with urgency. The caller claimed to have seen something unusual, something that needed immediate attention. The police were skeptical at first, but the details provided were too specific to ignore. A local fisherman known to frequent the isolated Blackwood Forest on the edge of town had made the call. He was a man of few words, someone who preferred the solitude of the forest to the hustle and bustle of town life. His routine was simple. He would fish in the early mornings and late evenings, avoiding the midday sun. He had seen a red car, just like Emily's, abandoned deep in the woods. The sight was unusual enough to catch his attention. The car was partially hidden by the dense foliage, as if someone had tried to conceal it. The fisherman knew the forest well, and he knew that this car did not belong there. The police descended upon the forest, their hopes a fragile thing in the face of so much uncertainty. They found the car, Emily's car. The discovery sent a ripple of anxiety through the team. They had been searching for Emily for days, and this was the first solid lead they had, parked under a canopy of trees hidden from view. The car was covered in a thin layer of dust, indicating that it had been there for some time. The forest seemed to swallow the car, making it almost invisible to anyone who wasn't specifically looking for it. The license plate was gone. The car was empty. The interior was undisturbed, as if Emily had simply vanished into thin air. There were no signs of a struggle, no clues to indicate what had happened. The police were left with more questions than answers, except for the chilling silence that hung heavy in the air. The forest, usually alive with the sounds of nature, was eerily quiet. It was as if the trees themselves were holding their breath, waiting for the next revelation. A silence that screamed louder than any confession. The search intensified. The police knew that time was of the essence. They combed through the forest with flashlights, their beams cutting through the darkness. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig was scrutinized. Cadaver dogs were brought in. Their keen sense of smell was the best tool the police had in such a vast and dense area. The dogs moved methodically, their noses close to the ground, searching for any trace of human remains. Every inch of the forest floor was scrutinized. The searchers moved slowly, careful not to miss anything. They knew that the forest could easily conceal evidence, and they were determined to find Emily. Then, the discovery. A body, hidden amongst the undergrowth, concealed by fallen branches and a thick layer of leaves. The body was almost unrecognizable, but the searchers knew it was Emily. The realization hit them like a punch to the gut. A collective gasp of horror rippled through the search party. It was Emily, and she was gone. The forest, once a place of mystery and intrigue, had now become a place of tragedy. The silence that once defined the Blackwood Forest was now a haunting reminder of a life lost too soon.